All right, everybody, what's up? And welcome to your reading for the new moon in Pisces happening on the 9th of March in the Northern Hemisphere and the 10th of March in the Southern Hemisphere. We are trying out a new method today, so we'll see how this goes. I wanted to try a top-down version of the reading so that we could focus more on the messaging and what's being put forward instead of having to focus on watching the video the whole time. As I've said before, you're welcome to just listen to these readings. Since it's top down, you'll be able to view the cards that I'm showing. But just throw this on, do some dishes, clean your house, fold your clothes, and see what comes through for you. My name is Kate. I run Starseed Awakening Co. I'm a Starseed guide for healers, empaths, and highly sensitive people. I help Starseeds find and navigate their purpose while navigating the ascension process and helping them to understand why they are here on this earth. So without further ado, let's get straight to the reading. Okay, so there's a lot of polarity happening with the masculine and the feminine right now. I've talked a little bit about this in previous readings. I did an entire video on the 2024 Sacred Masculine Upgrade, and we're feeling a lot of this in global issues as well. This sort of like difficult push-pull of the old ways of doing things, of explosions of violence, the regainment of control, retainment of control, and this holding on to old ways of doing things that are no longer serving us or the planet. And what I'm seeing here is in the sacred masculine, I said this in my last video too, like the call for the sacred masculine right now is to listen more than you speak. And what's coming forward for this second half of second half of the month, the sort of second half of this chapter of energy, so pulling us into March, is that in the sacred masculine, we're so being called to go inward and to try our hand at receiving. And so what I mean by that is when somebody speaks to you, and if you embody more of the masculine, you're very action-based as a person, maybe you inhabit a masculine body, or you just feel like you identify with that a lot right now. When someone is speaking to you, or when you are involved or engaged in conversation with somebody else, how much are you taking in? How much are you receiving about what's going on and absorbing and integrating the information instead of being so prepared to just project outwards or to respond with your belief or to express your opinion? Can you develop your skills of hearing and listening and being fully receptive to what is being said in this next chapter, in this next month, instead of trying to plead your case externally? This is going to help a lot of you in moments of conflict or in moments of understanding where you're trying to be understood, but you're trying to be understood by pleading your case. Whereas if we let the floor drop out from underneath us, if we allow what the other person is saying to be received fully, we'll have a better ground, we'll have better skills to be able to navigate what needs to be exchanged in that conversation in order for your message to really be heard and permeated on the other side. So can you go back and go into this cave of receptivity for the next month? Which for a lot of you might feel like turning off the gas, but it's really more about absorbing. It's like I said it in my last video, it's like trying to catch a baby or like catch a tomato, catch something precious. Can you catch what's being thrown to you instead of always aiming your arrow outwards. And as an extension for what I said with the feminine, and if you don't know what I'm talking about with these comments, I highly recommend going back and checking out my other video from the past 2 weeks. I'm expanding the timeline on my videos, and so they're not going to be as specific to the new moon and the full moon. It's just when I happen to release them. This is just generally what's happening with the energy at this moment. And so whenever you find this reading, it's going to be helpful for where you're at in your life at this moment. And so when it comes to the feminine and the yin, I was talking a lot about embodiment and being in your body and being connected to your body in the feminine, and doing that through dance or expression or movement or being connected to yourself in some way that allows you to feel into what's happening physically and internally. And the next step for that is emotional body. And we're in Pisces season. We're in the most intuitive, the most watery, the most psychic season that we have. And in order to tune into all of those incredible gifts that you have, you must also be able to tune into your emotions. And so in the sacred feminine, in the divine feminine, in the body that you're inhabiting, are you making space for the emotions that are coming up? And are you honoring the emotions that are coming up? Or are you trying to sweep them under the rug in hopes of continuing your life without being too pulled off track? The more you make space for your emotions this month, the more playing field, the more ground you're going to create for yourself when it comes to transmuting and co-creating from the ground that you're working on. So really get into the emotional body this month and really ask yourself where you're resisting allowing yourself to have that space. Let me know in the comments below if you prefer this version over my talking head version. I'd love to know what works best for you folks. Okay, for the forecast, for the energies of this month, you're mostly going to feel it over the new moon, but it's going to really fall into the rest of the month. There's going to be this feeling of stuckness that might be making itself known to you coming up. We're at risk of getting stuck externally, of really consistently looking at, oh, this person is at this place in their career, or this person is doing this, and I wish I was further along than I am. And it really is taking away all of the beauty and all of the incredible creation that you've cultivated within yourself. And what I'm hearing from this is that you're simply not giving yourself enough credit for what you've already completed. And so I'm a big list person, but if you can give yourself time or write it out on your phone or draw a picture or whatever, do something to document, even record a voice note on your phone and get yourself to name off things. Document what it is that you have accomplished in the past 6 months to a year. Our culture, Western culture, is so weak at celebrating. You know, we celebrate birthdays and marriages, and, you know, more recently we celebrate death in terms of a celebration of life, but we don't really celebrate anything else, you know, like anniversaries, graduation, but there's no celebration in the change of the seasons or the way that we've grown over the past few months or the way that we're changing internally. And so before we burst into spring, pull yourself back a little and just celebrate some of the accomplishments that you've already achieved within yourself in the past year. It's so, so important that we pull ourselves back from this collective comparison that we seem to be doing, It's making us really disjointed, and it's making our goals harder to unveil and uncover. When we're so focused on what the other guy is doing, we don't really give ourselves credit for what we're doing or what we're skilled in. And then it increases our chances of walking down this rabbit hole that's not actually meant for us in the first place. So give yourself some grace and take honor, take stock in the things that you've already created, and document that, write it down so that we know, or you know internally, what you have already created and what you are working towards, so that you get out of this super toxic comparative mindset. This one's coming back to the emotional body, that question of being able to embody yourself. And I'm always talking about the yin energy rising, the feminine rising, the divine energy of the feminine upwelling. We're headed towards this more balanced state of being, and we've been so firmly rooted in the masculine for so long that we really need to pull ourselves out and to move towards the feminine. And so with that in mind, there's a large piece this month that's going to involve deep grief. And maybe that involves literal loss. Maybe you've lost a relationship, a way of being. Maybe you've lost a part of yourself. Maybe you're losing a pet or something. Or maybe you're just losing something that feels kind of intangible to you, and you don't really know how to express it. You don't really know why it is that you feel this grief. That grief body, that holding that piece of you that is going, or that is lost, or that has died, that is us engaging with the Divine Mother. And so when we allow all of our emotions to exist, and we allow this grief to exist, we open the door for more joy. When we fully embody the pain and the loss and the grief and the sadness and the wildness that comes with that, the connection to the wild feminine, or the wild version of ourselves, when we allow this grief to upwell and to be released from our bodies, there's this call to release something within you that you've been holding on to so tightly. And Pisces season is the season of dreams. And so maybe it's a dream that you had of, this is what you were going to do for your job, or this is what you were going to do when you grew up, or this is what you thought you were going to create for yourself, and it's just not working. The energy is asking us to let something go and to fully grieve that process and to fully release it, so that we can create the space for joy and create the space for harmony that's impending, but it might be coming from a different angle that we didn't expect. This is in terms of relationships. I'm going to flip it early so that you folks can see what the card is reading. There's an opportunity coming towards you in a relationship that you have with another to fully reignite this part of you within that's been asleep for a very long time. The card reads Bodhisattva Awakening. And what is coming through for this coming month in relationships is that you may have a particular connection, and it doesn't have to be romantic, but it may be unexpected. You have a particular connection with somebody that feeds your spiritual body. And it's so important more than ever that we start to align ourselves with the people, places, and situations that make us feel fully alive. And so if there is a relationship that's coming to mind, take note of the fact of what it is that feels alive in you when you're with that person or when you're engaging in that relationship. And this could be a relationship with a practice. Maybe you've started to take up dancing, or you're going for nature walks, or you've started to draw, and it is awakening something within you. Take stock of the divine way that you feel and the divine clarity that you experience when you're engaging in that practice or in that relationship. Many of you who are listening to this are in this process of awakening. You're in this process of leaving who you have been and leaving your quote unquote normal life and entering something that is more spiritually aligned, more awake than what you're used to. And so even if you can't name the threads of that feeling, spend some time this month engaging in the relationship that makes you feel that little bit more lit up, that little bit more awake. It's going to bring you to a new place, a new vista of being able to understand your life and relate to the world. You just have to be willing to explore it. We're going on these ones still. Just gonna check the camera. Oh yeah, we're still good. We're still good. All right, there we go. Lots of upside down cards today. Okay. And for those of you who are curious, and especially those of you who are curious about the term Starseed, or you feel like you might be a Starseed, I've just written a book. It's called Starseed Survival Guide. It came out on Leap Day. It's available on Amazon, Kobo, Kindle, and as a PDF. I'm still waiting for Apple and Google Books, so we won't worry about that right now. But it's available in any version, e-reader or PDF if you don't have one. And it's an energy management book that helps you navigate the world as a starseed, an empath, and a highly sensitive person. So check out the book. The link's in the description box below. And hopefully that might provide some tools and assistance to help you navigate. This is coming back to career. Again, I feel like I'm speaking to a really particular part of my audience this time, and I wonder if this is going to start to, like this reading might resonate with you and you're going to continue to read my work and follow me and learn more about what I do, or you might stop watching after this video because I feel like I'm speaking to a really specific group of people. Truthfully, the work that you are going to be doing, the work that really is embodied as your divine career, has to have an element of the spiritual within it. And what I mean by that is that it has to, on some level, feel sacred to you. It doesn't have to be like a metaphysical job. It doesn't have to even be in the healing arts or anything like that. But there has to be an element of it that feels precious and sacred to you. Because when you are engaged in the work that feels sacred to you, there is an entire depth of accessibility, of energy, of voice, of reach that you are going to permeate by using the energy that is awakened within you when you're engaged in that work. And for many of you, this might mean having a day job and then fulfilling the true work that you're meant to do on the side until you feel confident enough, or you feel like you're set up enough, or you feel like things have aligned enough for you to be able to embody that work fully. But at the end of the day, the work that is going to feed you the most and the career that is going to invite the most success has to have an element of the spiritual within it, so that you feel like you're actually engaging in something that's making a difference. Otherwise, you're wasting your time and you're going to feel unsatisfied, and you're going to continue to feel unsatisfied. So ask yourself what it is that makes you feel that light inside, and then spend time doing more of it, even if it's tiny pieces at a time, but really honor yourself and give it more focus. And our last card here, it's a pretty beautiful read. This is about the way forward. If you're feeling stuck and you're feeling like you're unsure of how to move forwards, this is going to be the way forwards for many of you. There is a level of reclamation that needs to happen within your calling back of the innocence within your soul. I read this really beautiful letter from a reader the other day that had explained to me that my work ignites something within him that allows him to send healing energy from where he is now back in time to the beginning of a traumatic experience and all the way through that timeline. Where do you feel like the burdens you're carrying, the mistakes you've made, the things you haven't lived up to, the places that make you feel inadequate, where can you send out healing energy across the entire timeline? Send yourself forgiveness, send yourself love, send yourself understanding all the way back through that timeline so that you feel like you can fully heal and close that chapter, so that there can be a reclamation of your innocent core and your divinely clear, your genuine, authentic core, feeling it come back to you and back to your center. It's like, those of you who are listening, there's been a fracture and your energy has sort of gone in a bunch of different directions and you're settled more now and things aren't as chaotic, but you need to call that energy back to you so that you can begin to gather your strength and gather your power and reclaim your innocence and reclaim your goodness so that you can move forwards without feeling like you're a bunch of jangled, broken parts. You are so worthy of divine clarity and divine love and divine innocence. It truly is who you are inside. And we're all deserving of that. And so can you heal backwards, send the energy backwards and heal that part of you that feels like there's a broken part of the bridge that's just not deserving of that innocence and that love? Call your spirit back into your body. Call your energy back towards you and reclaim and gather as we move forwards in this next chapter and we enter into Aries season. We enter this new year, this astrological new year coming up. Aries is the first sign in the zodiac. So gather yourself before you make the leap into the new unknown. So that is all I have for you today. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, you can find my email in the description box below, or you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and on medium.com. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate everybody that watches these videos. And if you liked the video, please leave a comment below or consider subscribing to the channel. And let me know if you preferred this format over the other one, and I'll make the adjustments in the readings moving forwards. Blessings to you all. See you next time.